Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, right. Hi, Mol.
Hello, love.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
So, well done this week. No sofa.
Yes!
Hooray.
Hooray.
Thank the Lord. So a couple of little questions. Mm-hmm. Do you feel you hit the brief this week?
I do. I very much do.
Okay.
So our brief this week was obviously to do a sort of British eccentric room, obviously in this beautiful countryside manor house. Mm-hmm. So for me, but to put your own design stamp on it. So for me, I looked at that as like this beautiful, countryside retreat. It's all very botanical, loads of character, loads of history to the building, and just make it a real lovely, peaceful, floral, space that brings the outside in and reflects the age of the building and all that jazz. And then by putting my own spin on it, I sort of added a lot of my own print design in, added these more kind of like, as opposed to doing it really, neutral and plain, I did a lot of like electric blues and burnt orange, introduced some more vibrant colours. And that
so
was
it's not like a granny house, but it's still
exactly
it's quite a difficult one.
Yeah, because I love British eccentric design. It's in some ways, looking back on it, I think I still could have gone harder. But by honing in on the brief and thinking, I always do totally have the client in mind, and it is a commercial space, and you do want anyone who stays there to feel peaceful and calm. So yeah, I do think I hit the brief.
And you've got to accommodate everybody that stays there.
Yeah.
So from a 25-year-old to a 70-year-old, that's quite difficult.
I mean, so when I actually started my initial design, it was bolder, and then obviously down to time and money and confidence, I just kept sort of stripping it back and back and back. So originally it was darker. I was going to put wallpaper on pattern and really sort of build it up that way. And every time I did a design, I thought, yeah, but would a lot of their clientele be comfortable staying here? Would it be? So then I ended up sort of, and I kind of slightly regret it now because I think I could have gone bolder, but I sort of did keep thinking, well, if I make it just green and sort of this nice peachy colour and bring in some bits of like wow, then anyone would feel peaceful and calm and enjoy their stay there. So
but they kept it, right? So
they did keep my room, yes.
So what would you do differently, Mole?
It's a difficult one. I would obviously just magically give myself more time, because the finish and that was a nightmare. I had so many problems this week. I mean, I went downstairs and I was making my own headboard and making my bench seat and making my roller blind to cover the TV and making my lampshades, and I sort of put my trades to, you do that and you do that, and great. Then I went off for like hours and did my stuff and then came back upstairs. And they'd, bless them, ripped the headboard down, and there was loads of holes in my wall, huge ones, huge, like in the plasterboard and everything. So that had obviously taken the carpenter back, it had taken the decorator back, and nothing just got done anywhere near as quickly as I anticipated. So I came upstairs like with my headboard done, thinking we're going to secure that to the wall, we're going to pop the bench seat in, and I could just spend the rest of the time, finishing, fluffing, beautiful. But I came upstairs and it was like a building site still, and we had like 20 minutes left.
Well, yeah, because people don't see that, do they? Rochelle,
Abby,
you. People don't see that side of things.
We all had real difficulty,
Okay, how did your design evolve then? So you get the brief. What did you do?
Well, we got the brief, and I immediately always sort of looked to nature, and I went straight to nature, particularly because it is this countryside retreat, hotel, and they've got such beautiful Italian Renaissance gardens. So I wanted to totally, hone in on that and bring that in. So I actually began with my designing that print, because obviously as well, you get 5 days to do everything. You get the brief on like day one, and then you've got basically 4 days to get everything else. So I wanted to design my own print, but I had to do that very quickly to get it printed, made, sent, etc. So I started with my headboard, and as I say, it sort of originally was going to be a bit darker, a bit more green and richer and stuff. And then I sort of like started stripping it back a bit, so it had this kind of like gold background, but then added a lot of colour in the birds and things. So I started there. I started hand drawing out all these little birds from the local area. They're all from the British birds from the Surrey area. And then, just added all my colour, sent it off and got that printed. So everything else just kind of came around that. I really wanted to add in, real traditional features to empathise with the character of the building. So I put the panelling in. And obviously Michelle last week said, do more build. And I was like, I totally took that into consideration. I totally get that. So I had these ideas for the 2 side tables, which was sort of They kind of were, as I imagined, but not quite, because, as I say, the carpenter got pushed back tons and we just didn't have any time. But they were initially going to be, it was going to be this really flush sort of panelling that protruded slightly from the wall, and the side tables butted up, and it was this really smooth sort of finish.
Slick, yeah.
Yeah, really slick. And also the doors were meant to be so you sort of, they were hidden. You didn't have the little mouse hole, as Guy Oliver said. You were meant to just, there was like you can just push them and then they'd come out. But again, he didn't have time, and it was literally like, well, we need to be able to open the doors. Just drill a hole and they can pull it, because it was just frantic. So yeah, it basically started with a headboard, and I just built the sort of colour scheme around that and added the panelling, and here we are.
So
Sorry for the slight cut to the video, kids. My dad started cutting the grass. It was very loud, so reconvene.
okay, yeah, so we were saying, Mole, talk us through some of your favourite details and elements of your room.
Again, coming back to my ginormous headboard, which I built myself, that was basically 2 big bits of MDF that I cut to reflect the shape of the arched windows, because we had these beautiful big Gothic arched windows. So everything I did was like, let's think about that.
Yeah.
And again, the British Surrey birds, hand designed. I really was like proud of myself for doing that fabric, and first headboard I've ever made. It wasn't a perfect finish, but I was very happy with that. And the other thing I love the most is I made a roller blind to cover the TV. So I just think in a beautiful country house like that,
It's ugly,
with so much character and so much, beauty, and it is meant to be a peaceful retreat. You don't want to be laying in bed looking at this big, ugly, modern television.
With the family crest thing on it, right?
That was it, yeah. So there's the Evelyn family crest, which I sort of adapted and made it fit in with my room and stuff, and then printed that and made my own roller blind just to cover the TV. So that was something I was really pleased with. And I actually got an original copy off eBay of John Evelyn's diary. So thanks. So he's the botanist and, one of the family members of the original historical house. And I found his little book and just popped it on the bedside. Thought that was a nice touch.
So what were the biggest challenges then? Because I know a lot of you seem to have behind the scenes terrible challenges with the age of the building, etc.
Yeah, we did. I mean, it was difficult for me, Rochelle, Abby. I think loads of us had big build issues. So as I say, my biggest one was probably we took the headboard down and there was holes in my wall, and it was just basically time was my biggest challenge this week, and the fact that it could have all been so much better, more beautiful.
Slicker,
and even we probably would have then added more colour and more pattern and more, just more if we'd had more time. But by taking the headboard off and having holes, it just pushed everything back.
So when they kind of question the finishing, you know this.
Yes. Oh, exactly. So
yes. And also, the budget with a luxury hotel. Does that really work sometimes with the show?
It's difficult. I mean, our budgets obviously are very small, but that's sort of part of the challenge, I suppose.
Yeah.
But obviously the headboard and that was, as I say, a bit of thin MDF and a big bit of foam. Yeah. And because you can't get it properly upholstered and finished to the quality that that you want. I ideally would have bought a new bed and new.
Well, I was thinking like throws and things like that. You've all tried to do that throw thing.
Yeah.
But obviously in a place like that, there'd be hundreds, not.
If you need a giant quilted, beautiful bedspread.
That'd be like your budget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What did you think of the judges' comments? Do you think they were fair then?
I was actually quite pleased with the judges' comments this week. I appreciated that Michelle saw how I'd sort of taken her, criticism from the week before on board. I always kind of feel a bit like, when she says about my lack of experience or that I've got a long way to go.
I was just going to say, actually, do you get a bit annoyed about that? It's like, because I think you have had a job, etc., in interior design.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's a difficult one for me because I have had lots of experience professionally doing an interior design for years. So when she sort of says, oh, she's got a long way to go and she's, lack of experience in that, I sort of struggle with it, but I do understand what she means. I mean, going on the show, I did learn so much. I have came on loads as a designer.
So watching it, do you think you were quite green compared to perhaps a year on?
Oh yeah, how I am now to where I was then, very, 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 very different. And plus you've obviously, you are limited with your time, budget, etc.
COVID,
and COVID and even sourcing stuff. It was a difficult time.
Blame COVID, Mole.
Yeah, blame COVID. But no, I think I did all right. Yeah.
So you love the print design. You've also done like wallpaper design and things like that, because Amy's are beautiful, aren't they?
Oh my God, so
She's
beautiful.
really talented at that. So you enjoy that also.
Well, I really loved that about Amy's, and the fact that in her room she, I was like, oh yay, we've both done that, similar thing. I loved it. I went into her room and she had the Evelyn family crest and everything incorporated into a wallpaper.
Love that paper.
It's so beautiful, and I think that it's so important, as I say, I keep feeling like I'm repeating myself, but to have the client in mind and nod to the property and the building and make it really personal. So
it kind of makes sense, eh?
Yeah.
So Mole, you do seem to get a bit emotional. And you said, like, Peter said, oh, Mole's crying.
Oh yeah, that was.
So, and then you sort of said, well, I'm just so relieved. How did that actually work?
Oh, so that was so. Yeah, telly's weird. But it was so horrible. Like when I went through, obviously sheer relief, because going on the sofa is just horrible. I hate it, and I'm not good at it, and I don't.
And you'll love each other, right? So it's like,
oh, we love each other. So when I came off, they said, and you guys are going to be on the sofa, you're through, etc. I walked off, and I just burst into tears, and they interviewed me and said, how are you feeling? And I went, I feel relieved, but you expect to feel far more happy than you do feel, because you just feel so dreadful for the other contestants, and that's the bit that they cut, obviously.
It made you seem like really, I was like,
oh,
I'm all right.
No, as I say, I just stood there and I got like burst into tears, and I thought, oh my God, Abby, Rochelle and Peter are going on the sofa, and from doing it the week before, I know how it feels, and it's bloody horrible. And I just thought, and then you have that realisation that you become such a family so quickly. You think someone's going to go.
Everyone says that on programmes like this, but it's true.
It's so true. We've got a bond more than literally some of my family members. Like you just, they're like friends that you've had for life, and you've barely known them for any amount of time.
Yeah, it's an intense process, I guess. Isn't it?
So I just thought, oh my God, someone's going home. It was awful.
And also, Mole, you've been a bit all over the place this week. How is the IDM thing taking you? Is it a really difficult emotional roller coaster, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've had ups and downs this week. Week one, it was sort of okay, and then bizarrely this week when I got okay comments and stuff, it just is intense. It's just really hard, it's obviously it was the best thing I've ever done, and a crazy, amazing, learning curve and everything. But just watching yourself and being you putting yourself out there to be judged by anyone and everyone on the TV, by the judges. I'm quite a sensitive soul. I care desperately about
everyone's. Most people are.
Yeah, I care desperately about everyone's opinion. So just putting yourself out there, to. Well, luckily, all I've had is a lot of lovely comments, but it just is still very horrible. It's weird watching yourself. I hate watching myself, and it's all just a very daunting, quite overwhelming process.
So, the main comment: be kind out there, people.
Yes, everyone, be kind to everyone, please. It's an intense show. We're all just doing our best with the money and time that we've got to show ourselves. And
it's a show. Yeah,
it's just a show. It's a lovely show, but it's just a show.
What would you like to say to people watching the show? Would you say, obviously, because they're recruiting again?
Oh, yeah. I'll go for it.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I actually had a message from a lovely lady yesterday saying I've just applied for Series 4, and I think she got a phone interview, so good luck with that. I would totally say go for it. I mean, it is a nerve-wracking thing.
Yeah.
But when I went on the show, it was COVID. I was quite introverted. I sort of had I had my amazing job in interior design that I'd had since I was 18. And then I was working in an office and sort of just being in my house a lot. And I became very shy and introverted. And
a lot of people did.
Yeah. And I'm quite hard on myself. So I got more and more into myself. Yeah. And then I applied for the show and everything, and I go on it. But it suddenly pushes you to, go out, meet 10 new people, be filmed, go to Manchester, go all over the country, just do it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think from a personal journey thing, for anyone that was thinking about doing it, it's a really good thing, isn't it? Because like you say, you've got your van, you're off on your own, you have to meet people. It's a hell of a challenge. Is there anything else you'd like to say to me about Hotels Week that I've missed?
I don't think so. Just, I was pleased with my design.
Pleased with your design.
And... yeah, just be kind to everyone, because it's
Be kind,
hard.
people.
Yeah. But no, I had a lovely week, and just bring on next week. Schools, I'm very excited.
Schools, that will be quite a dramatic one, I think.
Yeah, very exciting.
Exciting time. Yeah. All right, Mel, well, I hope I've done all right as your question master.
You have, well done,
and everyone have a lovely Sunday, and
thank you, guys.
Next week...
Schools Week!
Schools Week!
Mwah. Thank you!